I want to share a realization that came to me quite late in my life. Namely, the realization that perfectionism makes my life worse, not better. You know how society tends to believe that perfectionism is some special quality that makes a person exceptional. This trait is mostly associated with positive character qualities. Well, I disagree with this. I place this trait on the same level as gambling addiction, the dependence on approval, and other mental traps. And I believe that it's mostly a disease, an obsession, or a passion, that by definition of the term obsession, has full control over the life of the person who possesses this trait and does not realize it. Essentially, if you see that a part of your project is not going as you envisioned, and this paralyzes your ability to continue the project, I would say that this is already a problem, because what happens next is what I call wheel paralysis. The idea is that you have convinced yourself that you need this project only if it reaches the ideal form you imagined. Something inside your head has decided that you need a perfect version of the result, or you don't need the result at all. This leads your mind to the logical conclusion that you should stop all actions related to the project because the set goal is no longer achievable. This is a problem because a huge number of projects started by such person will never see completion. That is, the actual efficiency of such a person in creating benefits for themselves maybe only 10% of what they could have achieved, but instead they abandoned the project. Examples: abandoning a job interview for an interesting position just because the interviewer seemed rude. Not establishing relationships with other person due to unsuccessful conversation or event. Canceling a business project because circumstances emerged that did not fit into the original vision of the final business result, and so on. Before giving advice on how to avoid this mental trap, I believe you need to determine for yourself who are you trying to make this project perfect for yourself or for others. I think this is important because both cases require different reasoning. For yourself, if you have consciously decided that you want to see this project in its ideal form because you personally want it, and you understand that you are ready to sacrifice everything for this, then this is more about choosing a life path rather than just a problem of perfectionism. Example: one of the modern Chinese carvers worked on a small jade Buddha statuette for 16 years, perfecting it to an ideal. I assume he did this for himself and consciously, so there is no point in trying to convince such a person that they are wasting time. Most likely, the person already knows this and chooses this path for the sake of the idea, not rationality. For others. And this is where the problem arises. If you are working on the endless refinement of a project only because you fear judgment for an imperfect result, you are on a wrong path. And you need to fix this mindset, because this faulty reasoning leads you to waste your time and all other life resources. For myself, I have developed the following principle. I need to ask myself the question: do I consider the achieved result a good job? If my answer starts with yes, overall it's okay, but I need to fix this and that, then I conclude that the project is successfully completed. The key rational response was yes. Everything that follows in that sentence is just your doubts, fears, fantasies, etc. The essence is that if your work were obviously bad, you wouldn't be playing word games with yourself. You would simply say, I built this brick wall and it's crooked, this is a bad work. That is, you already know when the final result is unacceptable. And the only next step when you say, yes, everything is fine, but, is to forcibly stop your train of thought and put a period on a project. It seems that you start to think about such things only when you see the fleeting nature of time. Honestly, if life were infinite or at least 800 years long, I would allow myself, like that master, to carve a single figurine for 10 years or more. But objective reality places us humans within a time limit. And what I have realized in my life is that more than imperfect things or projects, what annoys me is wasted time and never-ending projects. Thus, this text became the result of a struggle between different parts of my consciousness. My rationality, which requires optimizing time and processes, and my thirst, desire for an unattainable form of perfection. These judgments are not intended to destroy a person's need for perfectionism, nor do I even consider this possible. But I believe it is necessary for a conscious person to establish control over the obsession and to understand when it begins to waste time, while give nothing or only negligible improvements in return.